Welcome. First of all, thank you to everyone that subscribed to our channel. It's growing. The viewership is up, and really the goal of spreading Torah around is what it's about. So do your part. Click share, subscribe, like, comment, argue if you want. You're in good company, and we'll get this around. We're talking about what happens on Rosh Hashanah, and specifically this desire thing. Hashem has no reason, so to speak, to create a world. Why should he? And initially he had this rotzain, this desire, to reveal a level called Malchus. Those that are familiar with Sfiros, it's the 10th level of emanation, we'll call it, of Hashem, the flow of divine energy, as it pertains to coming down into this world, into creation. Why should he go through that step? Not that it's difficult, but what's the purpose? Just to create a world. Hashem doesn't need anything. Hashem is complete, he's full. He wasn't lacking anything. A person wants to do something because he feels a void, or he has to improve, or he wants to benefit. Hashem doesn't have any of these needs, obviously. So why did he do it? So initially, when he first created the world, Kabbalah tells us it's bechesed chinam. There's actually a pasuk, Olam chesed yibana. It's in Tehillim. The world is created with kindness. Hashem didn't acquiesce to someone's request. It's not like someone earned it. Hashem said, out of my kindness, I'm going to create a world. People, opportunities, etc. Then, once Adam came into the picture, the first man, and Chava, he said, you have to earn this for it to continue. You have to deserve it. If you'll bring out this desire, then I'm going to reveal Malchus, and that Gilui of Malchus is going to recreate, sustain the world, and so on. So in a way, what Chassidus is telling us is the fuel for this world is desire. It's a desire for Hashem to create, which we bring that out through us having a desire for Hashem as king. And it gets into this whole conversation or discussion that Hashem's desire or his creating of the world and the energy of the world works on a year-to-year basis. Of course, he's creating it every moment, but there's last year's general chayas, and there's this year's. That's why it's called the Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, because these 2 days of Rosh Hashanah have within it the energy for the whole year, just like Rosh Chodesh has for the month, in a smaller way, but it's in a similar manner. So Rosh Hashanah has it for the coming year, but it's only for this year. And when this year finishes, you have to almost have a reset and get the new energy, which again is going to be constant recreation, but a new energy for that year. And the question is, should Hashem do this again or not? Should there be an existence or not? Now, with Hashem's help, we evoke that desire again. Why should I want to? And what is this desire going to attach itself to? It's like a candle. There's a fire, but you have to have a wick or a piece of wood or something that's going to hold the fire. This desire of Hashem has to have something to hold it. I mean, that's the way Hashem designed it, not that it needs to, but that's how Hashem wants it. So the way that happens is if we want Him, if there's an interest in having Hashem as king, if there's a desire for us to connect to Him, if there's an acceptance of the yoke, as He keeps on saying, Kabbalah's then it works. And the question is, if you look at the past year, maybe I didn't always have this deep accepting of the yoke. And here it's extremely important because we're not even talking about an Aveira per se. Obviously that has to be corrected. We're talking about an attitude. Maybe during the year I didn't have the attitude of, yes, Hashem, I accept your yoke, whatever you want. And maybe it wasn't even in regards to action. It was something regarding words, how I speak, or even thought. It's like, I can't do this, I'm not interested. The attitude and the approach wasn't like, Hashem, I want you. And if that's not there, how could I expect this kingship of Hashem, which is what happens after the desire, right? A gilui of Malchus Yisbarach. How could I expect it to come back down and happen again if I wasn't interested in the first place? In other words, there's no receiver. And this is why we do tshuva, and we turn to Hashem and we say, yes, I missed some stuff, and maybe according to the report, there's certain areas that I don't really have this ratzin, but let's fix it. And we asked, how could you fix it? You could fix it. Dirt you could fix, right? You can clean up something. But a missed opportunity you can't clean up. And he says, well, that's not necessarily true because desire is so powerful that there's two levels of desire. There's lower and higher, just like in a person. You have your external desire and you have your internal desire. External desire says, I want to do something. It's good, it's important, but the first obstacle that comes your way, or the first mood change that you have, the first discouraging word you hear from your friend, sometimes it's out the window. I did want it. But then you have a desire that's primius halev. It's the depths of your heart. And he has psukim that shows how you see these from the words. But the primius halev is such a deep level of desire. You're not going to be lazy tomorrow and not do it. Even if you're tired, you're going to get up and do it. You're driven by this need. And your friends are going to laugh at you. It's not going to change because you have a very, very strong will. I'm glad you consider him your friend. Proud. I do too. The idea is that it was not going to change. Why? Because it's a very deep desire. In our relationship to Hashem, even if things weren't perfect, and who could say it was perfect last year, the desire has the ability, if it's so strong, I really, really want Hashem now, not because I'm afraid of punishment or whatever else, I really, really want Him, it's going to cause Hashem's desire to get revealed. And now He says, let's get Malchus going, let's create a world. So in a sense, what's needed here is, want me. Okay? Hashem says, do you want me? Well, I mean, prove it, or let's see the attitude that you want it, but you want me. The desire has to be there. Desire is deeper than logic, it's deeper than understanding, there's no ulterior motives. I just want it. It's very deep, and nothing's going to stop it. The Tehillim that we say, we add many different things in Rosh Hashanah, of course, and the Saras made Tshuva, the 10 days of Tshuva, through Yom Kippur. One of the things that we do every day is Shir Amalis Mima Makim. It's a psalm that we daven to Hashem, that I call out to you from the depths. Depths is plural because there are two levels of depth. There's the external, the internal. And I'm calling out to you, Hashem, from the very depths of my being, meaning from the innermost area of me, which is the real me, and I'm calling out to Hashem to please have this desire to connect with us. Now what happens technically on Rosh Hashanah is, this year finishes, 5783, Hakel year finishes, and now we're supposed to have a new year with new good divine energy, revelation of Malchus, and Hashem is doing this in a willing way, etc. But we have to evoke it. We have to have that desire. And the beginning of the night of Rosh Hashanah, there's kind of a limbo in the energy. Last year's Chayas is gone because it expired. This year's Chayas wasn't really brought out yet, because that has to happen through davening, through shofar, through the Yidden's behavior, through our attitude. It's not here yet. So what happens? And it says on the night of Rosh Hashanah, this is why the pasuk says, Bakesa liyem chagenu. Most other holidays, Torah tells you this and this month, usually by a number, like the 7th month of the year is Tishrei, because we start from Nisan. On this day, which is the 15th of the month, which is Sukkot, take a lulav, and there's a description, you know what to do. For Rosh Hashanah, it says Bakesa, in the hiddenness. Hidden means there's something that's very concealed. You don't see it. What's concealed here? It's the level of this desire of Hashem, so to speak, is hidden. The whole energy is hidden. There's this, obviously, the world exists and people continue to exist, but it's hanging in the balance. It's a very big question, how's this going to go? And again, it's not like, please, please, please. It's, I want you, I'm dedicated to you, you're my king, I'm crowning you as king. Right? It's a positive thing, but it's a deep dedication and it's a very inner part of myself that says, I want you. Very, very strong to Hashem, sincere. And that happens through the tefillos and through shofar. And what happens then is you're taking the level that's concealed and it gets revealed. The process of revelation is gradual. So Rosh Hashanah you have it, Seres Meitshuvah you have it, all the way through the end of Yom Kippur, that's the Gemar HaSlicha, the completion of the atonement. Because it's almost like you're unraveling it in stages. Rosh Hashanah is one type of Aveda, Seres Meitshuvah during the week is a different Aveda, Shabbat Shuvah is a different Aveda, Yom Kippur is a different level, a different way. And then it really continues on Simchas Torah. Why is it such a joyous time? Because joy is revelation. It's a certain feeling that's being expressed. When it's all hidden inside and there's no joy. It's revealed, it expresses this revelation that we did it. We had this desire for Hashem, The question?
When you say revelation, you're talking about the revelation of our desire, or you're talking about a different kind of revelation?
Thank you. So the question is, what does revelation mean? Who's being revealed? What's being revealed? What's being revealed here is the fact that Hashem wants to create a world is manifesting itself. Wants to sustain the world is manifesting itself. So it's not like this revelation of godliness in the literal sense where you could see him and feel him, but his effect is being revealed. So we had Elul, or we have Elul now, and the king is in the field and we're going out to greet him, and we're taking a reckoning of our past year. Then we're getting into Slichas, depending on your minig, Ashkenazic, Sephardic, Litvish versus Hasidic, different amounts of time. But there's the Yemei HaSlichos, which there's davening, which is a little bit more deeper, and you're asking literally for atonement. Then you have Rosh Hashanah, you're accepting Hashem as king. Then there's Tshuva, because there's a day of judgment, which really inscription and sealing of the coming year on Yom Kippur. And then as all these things are happening, we're basically telling Hashem, we want you to be king. And we're expressing it based on our behaviors, right? And all the chusim that we're doing. Then we come to Sukkot, where we're not saying, oh, it's over, fine, I'm out, I'm done. Yom Kippur is finished. We're actually celebrating our relationship with Hashem. And then Simchas Torah comes, and there's a real simcha that says, we're in. It's one of the reasons why Hakafes is called Hakafa. Hakafa means to circle. But we dance in a circle. But it also means on loan, the Hakafa. So when you go to the store and you want something, you put it on the bill. Or you're getting something from a wholesaler, you tell them, when I sell it, I'll give it back to you. Right? Really what you're saying is, trust me, I'm going to use it, I'm going to invest it, I'm going to sell it, I'll give it back to you. With interest, dividends, whatever, right? With Hashem is the same thing. We're telling him, give me a good year. Money, health, nachas, everything else that it needs, strength, success, etc. And Hashem's like, 1 second, what are you going to do with all that? Last year, I don't know, right? God forbid, perhaps. Well, you say, give it to me b'hakafa, give it to me on loan. Trust me, I'm going to use it. And then, this year we're a little bit nervous, because what could I come and show for it? A lot, hopefully, but maybe not. Maybe didn't maximize it. Maybe he expected more profit. And that's a kafis. He's saying, Hashem, give it to us, give us a good year. And really, through the dancing and the joy in Simchas Torah is the culmination of it. Hashem says, good, your attitude is correct. You asked for forgiveness of last year. You showed up. You're interested. You're asking. You want this. Okay, I don't know exactly if I was an investor, this is if I put all my money with this guy, because I don't know his track record, but he's sincere, he's committed, he really wants to, and I know that he's sincere, I trust him. I'll give it to you on loan, God willing to do. Now, as the year progresses, we get back to Elul, we're like, 1 second, did I actually do this? What else could I make, and so on. But what I want to focus on now, and that's the next section of the Maimer, is the Bakesa part. The concealment, what does this really mean? So it's in page 108. It doesn't have a number to this paragraph, because in a sense it could probably be its own thing, but it is a continuation of the Maimer. Bakesel yem chagenu, in the hiddenness to the day of our celebration, of our rejoicing. Pirush. Ki hine haratzin ha'alyan shemizgale b'Rosh Hashanah, the supernal desire which gets revealed on Rosh Hashanah to create a world. Hu ha'yidei bakesel. It's through a level of concealment. Now, this is not just first it's concealed, then it's revealed. Through being concealed, it reaches a state of revelation. In life, very often, because of the, God forbid, the challenge, the person reaches a much greater level, or he develops greater strength. Through the concealment comes the revelation. What goes on here? There is a histalkos, a removal, in the beginning of the night of Rosh Hashanah. It's the time when the general chayas of the past year is nostalgic, it moves, it leaves. Rosh Hashanah, and Rosh Hashanah through our davening, and the shofar blasts, it gets renewed, chayas koli acher, a different type of chayas. Not last year's at all. Actually, the chayas that's coming now has not been in this world ever. It's completely fresh. In other words, the opportunities that I have this year, despite who I am and what the last years are like, there's different energy, and therefore I could accomplish much differently than I ever did. And then it keeps elevating, elevation after elevation. From Rosh Hashanah through Yom Kippur. So somewhere in the middle of the night, let's say after Kiyas Shofar, because tefillos and attitude and Shofar, but after Shofar, you have this new Chayas, and then this Chayas keeps on upgrading. So it's Tshuva, second day of Rosh Hashanah, there's Tashlech, and so on and so forth, until Yom Kippur. And within Yom Kippur, there's stages, right? There's 5 tefillos. Sha'oz b'ne'ilo gumara aliyos. Then on Ne'ilo you have the completion of all the elevations, right? The last final prayer of Yom Kippur. Huzman gemara slicha. That's the time of the completion of the atonement. And then regarding that state, it says in front of Hashem you'll be purified, meaning after Ne'ilah. That you definitely reach that level. Higher than the level of Havaya. We know that there's different names of Hashem, and they represent different levels of Hashem's interaction with the world. Havaya is a high level, Yud Kei Vav Kei. How do you say the word in English?
Tetragrammaton.
Tetragrammaton. Maybe we'll put it in the comments. On this note, like, share, subscribe. Click the bell. You'll be notified of any new videos as it comes up. Smash the like button. The idea of Titharu, of Havaya is like this. Havaya is a level which is beyond creation, which means it's such a level of godliness, it needs to go through some stages, so to speak, in order to create a limited, finite world. Then you have Elikim, which is the level of godliness that's actually creating the world. It means it's been condensed, at least from our perspective, and it could deal with finite and so on. When we say you're being purified, it says Lifnei Hashem Titharu, before Hashem. Now literally it means in front of Hashem. But Kabbalistically it means greater than the level of Havaya, which is a very intense spiritual level. That's where our purification is. There's Elikim, there's Havaya, and then there's our purity, which is higher than that. That happens, we reach that level after Rosh Hashanah, and the end of Ne'ilah. To the extent that from this flows to the day of our celebration, which is the week, which is the time of our rejoicing, the revelation of joy. So it's a progression. Now, again, revelation is the joy to God will be very great. In other words, I'm not scared and worried and this like strange relationship, which is like stress-inducing. It's in Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, all kind of stuff. There's an awe, there's a solemnity to it, and so on. But there's a joy with Hashem. I'm celebrating its sukkahs. I want Hashem. I want this. I like this. I want to. This is what I am. With a greater strength, with the revelation of the desire of Hashem. All this happens through the level of Bakesa, the hiddenness, which started on the night of Rosh Hashanah. Because what I do on the night of Rosh Hashanah and how I behave on Rosh Hashanah, and how I take this whole thing, which the better your preparation, the more successful it is, that's how the revelation happens. In other words, we have a big part in it. Not just sit around here, what's going to happen now? My approach, my commitment, causes the way that this gets revealed to play out. The level of the revelation, the type of the revelation is going to depend on how I interact while it's hidden. Let's see inside. It's through the Bakesa, which is the Histalkos, which happens at the beginning of the night of Rosh Hashanah. Now, the fact that it was concealed, and we had to do something to reveal it, right? I was focusing more on what you do matters, but it's a general approach. What he's saying here is the fact that it was concealed and it got revealed brings a certain joy. It's compared to somebody who was in captivity, heaven forbid, in jail, and then he gets released. It's not like, well, before he went in, he was happy, he was free, and now he's free. It's a much greater joy because in the middle he was in captivity. Someone that goes out of captivity. His joy out of being released from prison is much stronger, and in a doubled way, compounded. And that's why it says you'll draw water with joy on Sukkot. Why? Because there was this limbo state, and the desire of Hashem was concealed. And we have to say, we want you to be our king, and please, and I'm committed, and I want Hashem. And it was the deepest levels within myself that evoked the depth from Hashem, which is able to fill voids of missed opportunities in the past year, that says, you know what, you're in. I'm thrilled as a result of that, and I'm really celebrating. That's the idea of pouring the water on Yontif on the Mizbeach. That's the flow, the revelation of pure waters. There is a verse in Prophets that talks about the purification process, and it says, I'm going to sprinkle upon you pure waters. Now, it's not the drizzle outside now, but it represents purity, purification. So drawing the water on the Mizbeach with such joy on Sukkot, which is a result of being released from captivity, which is the concealment or the lack of revelation that we had on the night of Rosh Hashanah, is so joyous, it's reminiscent, or it's connected to the sprinkling of the waters, of the purification waters onto the person. Again, we're not sprinkling water, but Hashem purifying us. Okay. Now the rest of that pasuk, Tikka b'chay the shofar. How are we on time, by the way?
We have 15 minutes.
The rest of that pasuk is, so we said Tikka b'chay the shofar, and we said the b'chaydesh doesn't say which chaydesh because it means general. It's a renewal, not just Tishrei, but it's the whole year. The shofar and that process of Rosh Hashanah affects the whole year. Then we said Vakesel Yem Chagenu, which is the continuation of the verse. In the concealment, what's concealed? It's concealed till Yem Chagenu. Yem Chagenu is Sukkot, which is the real revelation. It's the joy. Vakesel starts on the night of Rosh Hashanah, and we unravel, we provoke, so to speak, Hashem's desire. It's a bad word for Hashem. In other words, we're not getting him, but we're like evoking Hashem's desire. In stages, gets revealed and so on. But the next part of the pasuk is Ki Chayk Yisrael Hu. It's a law. It's still about the mitzvah of shofar. It's a law to the Yid, to Yisrael Hu. Mishpat L'Elokei Yaakov, a statute to the God of Jacob, which is a biblical way of saying it's a law from Hashem. Well, we're going to take apart this pasuk, these words, and see how it fits with everything we said, and the deeper meaning behind what's going on. The name Yisrael, there's many ways how you could call a Yid. Right? There's Yisrael, there's Yehudi, there's Ivri, and so on.
Don't forget what's up, yo.
Jew, yo.
Right.
There's a few other ones which. Reb Yid.
Right.
So Yisrael represents battling with an angel, tremendous strength, and coming out on top, which means victory, which means overcoming challenges, and so on. Yisrael is the level of you wrestled with Elikim, with God, so to speak, which is a reference to when Yaakov Avinu wrestled with an angel. An angel is godly, it was a bad angel, and he won. Right? That's the name Yisrael. In our Avodah, in our service of Hashem, what it represents is I already became the minister, meaning the one in charge, Umeishel, and the ruler, on the level of Elikim. Elikim represents a tzimtzum, which is a contracting of the light, a lack of openly feeling godliness necessarily. Okay, and as a result of that energy or that flow, sometimes things in this world could seem like they're antithesis to what Hashem wants. That's where temptation comes from. That's where the ability to do wrong things come from. That's where the misconception that it's not so bad, and the blur and the lack of clarity exists. When I say I'm a Yisrael, it means I already became a Yisrael. I won this battle. I'm a ruler over the level of Elikim, which is the concealed level, which makes it possible or easier to mess up. I'm in charge of that. I got it. I'm not going to fall for it. There should be a revelation of this world and his delights. Shekvar nispashta. Nafshi elikis milevushim tzayim. V'ishapcham hashuchal enherom muas b'ra. Now, as a result of Elikim, what happens is you now have the ability in this world to have a physical world and all of the pleasures of this world. You say delights, it sounds like some Kabbalistic thing. What he means here is pleasures of this world, which sometimes are very negative. Okay, so Elikim is where that all comes from, the level of Elikim. And when I say that I became a Yisrael, I'm a ruler. I'm controlling myself against all of those things. I don't fall for the pleasures of life if they're not allowed. My nefesh alikis already got rid of the levushim tzayim, the dirty garments, and I transformed darkness to light, and I'm disgusted by bad. This is the level of a tzaddik. Okay, a Beinoni is someone who doesn't do bad. But he's not disgusted by it. He actually wouldn't mind. If he could, he would. I just have no choice. Hashem doesn't let. A level of Yisrael, and the ultimate, is that I don't even want it. I'm disgusted by it. And perhaps in some way people reach that regarding some areas in life. Not every single terrible thing are you tempted to do. Some things you're repulsed by it. You think this is wrong, this is not nice, this is bad. But Yisrael represents, I'm a ruler over those parts of life, of this world. It's coming from the tzimtzum, which is allowing these things to play out, right? The fact that you could do bad, negativity and temptation and so on, it comes from Hashem, right? It's just going through Elikim, which is not bad. It's just concealing a certain amount, which allows for existence of things that are against, so to speak, what Hashem wants. She, meaning the godly soul, is what's ruling within me. And this level, ki chayk. It's a law, meaning that's the reality, that's ironclad. Where do I get the strength to do that? Right? It's all around you. Lev Yitzchak Abarditchev said, how come temptation is in the street? Like, you call it balance, everything is fair and equal, right? But you walk outside and it's enticing to you. And the other side, the B'charta B'chaim from this week's Parsha, it's in Shul, he says, with Levi Yitzchak, on the top shelf in a book. If you open it up, it'll tell you that if you do this and this, there's Gan Eden. You call that equal? On the street, put the billboards that say, if you go to Shul now, this is the reward. As opposed to if you do this, it's fun. But the point is that where does a Yid get the strength from? It's from Kichayk. Kichayk the Yisraelhu, which means on Rosh Hashanah, there's a certain flow from Galgalta. We explained that desire, the higher level of desire, is greater than intellect. And the brain, in our mind, let me explain. Going very fast. I want something sometimes, very strongly, and it's irrational. Not in a bad way, but rational is here, and logic is here, and desire is even greater. It makes no sense that you want this. You know how hard it's going to be? You know how expensive it's going to be? You know what sacrifices you're going to have to make to get there? I don't care, I want it. But it doesn't add up. I still want it. It's greater than logic. Okay, it's greater than rationale. Then all three levels of intellect, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In the anatomy of the body, on our top of our brain, there's a skull, which is it's a bone. Okay, it's called Galgalta de Chafia al Mecha, a skull which covers over the brain. This level of desire that we say is so strong, it's described as the Galgalta. Okay, we call it depths of our heart, but you're reaching a level from supernal flow. What's that?
It's above it. It's more than that.
Right, higher. We're reaching from that, and we get that for the whole year from Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so how do I have Kichayk li Yisrael hu? It's Rosh Hashanah we're talking about. Chayk means it's strong, it's ironclad. The Yisrael, the fact that I am a Yid, and I'm a ruler over the temptations and the pleasures of life which come from Elikim, and causing there should be Chayk umazin l'chol Hashanah. It should be a nourishment, and he brings a proof that the word Chayk, which means a law, also means nourishment. This is feeding me for the whole year. So on Rosh Hashanah, when I have this approach to the Eibishter, that it's bakesa, everything is concealed, and I have to ask and want, and a deeper level of ratzin, which causes the Eibishter's ratzin to come through, that's impacting a certain flow, a hamshacha for the whole year, to be a level of Yisrael where I overcome Elam Hazav Tainugov and its pleasures. Not just to overcome it, I'm in charge. It's not even an issue. I'm disgusted by it. Ki chayk hu lashin mazain, because chayk is a lashon of mazain, which is nourishment. When she calls it hatrifeini lechem chukai, feed me or give me bread of my nourishment. But chukai means chayk. V'gam chayk lashin kvius. Law also means permanence. This is the law. You can't do anything about it, right? I mean, council, could you? Could you change the law?
You can appeal to the Supreme Court, but
At some point, it's the law.
in Yiddishkeit, it's the one thing that has permanence, right? Our languages change, our countries change, our culture changes. It's
You don't
the
have 1-800 heter now.
There you go.
No, but yeah. So another example of chayk is that it's kvias, it's permanence, which means this is the way it is, and it's not going to change based on my mood.
I'm gonna call that after class and see if anybody answers.
It's busy. Gam chayk lashon chakika. Chayk also means engraving, so it's nourishment, it's permanence, and it's engraving. It means that it's scraped of the supernal purity. I'm still trying to figure out what this means. Which means the letters of chakika, of engraving, the uniqueness or the specialty about engraved words is that the indent becomes a keli, a receptacle. And everything in this world, in creation, operates in a way of oires and kelim. There's giving and there's receiving. There's the energy, and then there's the vessel that uses that energy and moves it along. And there's a bittul that's required in each level, a certain submission to understand that I'm a receiver and I'm limited and I'm trying to get something that's greater. Even within light itself, as it moves from one stage to the next, it has to be a giver and a receiver, and a keli. That's how the whole world, spiritually, physically, that's how it works on every level. The Eiseis HaChakika represent kelim because they engraved, literally the words that are engraved, let's say it's in a rock, there's an indent there, and therefore it could receive. So Chayk Li Yisrael Hu that we say regarding shofar means a lot of things. It means the permanence, and it means the nourishment for the whole year, the strength to be able to overcome it. It means the kelim to be able to process it, and so on. Similarly, his nefesh is going to be a keli, just like the Eiseis HaChakika, and a dwelling place for the resting of the light of Hashem within himself. And in a permanent way. Not some days I want to daven, some days chas v'shalom, etc. It doesn't work that way. It should be a mishkan, a dwelling place for the Eibishter in his nefesh. That's Kichek Yisrael, and it all happens through the Tikku B'Chodesh, which starts off Bakese, and then it goes in the way of Chayk. Shekol Yamav Tamid, that all of his days constantly, consistently, u'la'olam and forever, Tia B'Vchinas Bittul Elav Yisbarich. The Yid is always going to be in a way of Bittul to the Eibishter, blessed be He. Meaning, we're trying to figure out for this coming year, through the process of Shofar, which has its own preparations too, but through the process of Shofar, which is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, you're taking this chayis, which is concealed for the new year, and through a deep desire of wanting Hashem, you're awaken a deep desire above, which is beyond logic, meaning even if you don't deserve and based on your track record, whatever else, that it should come forth in a strong way, in a real way. And then what happens is it becomes Chayk Li Yisrael in a permanence, in a way of a Yisrael. This year, the Yid is behaving in a way that he's in charge of the other parts that are going on into this world, that are a result of Alikim. And there's a permanence here. And there's a Chakiko, and therefore it's a Keli, and therefore it's a dwelling place for the Eibishter. Now, Kelim are bittul, right? I'm the receiver. I'm waiting to get something. I'm humble or submitted, right? That means that I'm doing what the Eibishter wants, not what I want. Will be a level of Merkava, I'll explain, to to his dwelling. When it comes to bittul to Hashem, with that basically on a basic level, what it means is, I want to eat this. Hashem says it's not kosher. I'm not eating it. Okay, so my desire is put aside, and I have a bittul to Hashem. But I wanted to. Okay, bittul of merkava, which is what it says about the avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They have a bittul. The Eibush like a merkava is like a wagon to the driver. Your wagon, your car, doesn't say, I don't want to go to the highway. I want to go to local traffic. And you're forcing it. It doesn't even have a want. Wherever you go, I go. Right? I have a choice. Not your car, but in life you have a choice. But it's not that you want something else. Whatever Hashem wants, that's what I want. That's a level that we want to reach. To what extent that teirasei umnasei, Torah becomes your profession, your trade. It's all you're into day and night. Other things I have to do in life, but my primary focus is Torah, day and night, to the extent loy pasik pumei migirsa. His mouth doesn't stop learning. That's his life, constantly. Now, it's very different from, okay, I have to learn, I'll learn. Because you're bringing down this energy into this world, this chayas, that came through your ratzin, that you were me'erer, to the level that now you're Yisrael over your body. You're in charge. And you say, all these things I don't want. I only want Eibishter. Now, a person has to eat, sleep, exercise, whatever he has to do, work, etc. But that's my main focus. That's what I am. That's
Is the two Rasum Naso the reason why one should go to Uman on Rosh Hashanah? Sorry, I couldn't resist. No comment.
You don't have to repeat that question.
And a flame of fire, like a flame that comes up on its own. In other words, it's so real, like a fire in a candle. Fire in a candle just burns upwards. It's going. Similarly, his relationship with Hashem, it's burning. That's what it is. It's a struggle and a flicker, like a coal. It's hidden with it. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Like, share, subscribe, smash that button.
Sure.
Thank you.